Today's story is called Arthur at War. Smoke was a stain on the late afternoon sky. A stream of frightened people began to appear a short time ago. Most were scared and hungry, a few were hurt. All were looking for a place to be safe. The steward had already gathered their own people in the courtyard. These newcomers were kept outside beside the gate. Arthur passed among them, handing out small loaves of bread. Only one Arthur, and no more. Charity is a noble thing, but we must care for our own first. Arthur understood. There was a war going on, and it was getting closer. His father had left a month ago, taking their fighting men. A brave sight they had made. Sir Ector at the head of 30 men marching out to war. The sun had shone on their helms. They looked so brave, invincible warriors. What they left at home were the cast-offs, the boys too young, the men too old, and the women. Now the war was closing in on them all. A rider, came a shout from the hall. Archers, stand ready. Close the gate. Brand, Sir Ector's steward, called. Arthur scrambled through the closing gap. Brand, who had been touring the courtyard a moment ago, now stood on the battlements above the gate. A groom with one of Ector's cast-off bows stood next to him. As the rider drew closer, the groom nocked an arrow. The rider pulled up and raised his hand, calling, "I bring word from Sir Ector." "Speak," Brand ordered. Sir Ector calls for more men, all that can be found. "We'll be ready to leave within the hour," Brand said. It was a sad-looking group of soldiers Brand gathered before the gate. Cooks, farriers, farmers, stable hands, a few grizzled veterans. Brand stripped the castle of every last able man or teenager. "Arthur, our Lord calls and we must answer. You're the master of this place now. Do your duty. Keep them safe." With that, Brand left, and Arthur was alone. Next morning did not start well. The animals were not fed, the fires were not laid, breakfast was not cooked, and Arthur, upon awakening, discovered all these problems were now his to solve. How was he going to get everything done? No matter. His first duty lay with the stable. Those animals could not do for themselves. Better get to it. The horses were all gone, but there were cows and goats, and they needed to be fed and milked. The birds must be cared for and any eggs collected. It could take hours, but not if he had help. He spotted two young boys in the courtyard. "You two," Arthur called, trying to sound in charge. "Come here." It worked. They came. "Sir?" "The birds need tending, feed and water, and don't forget to gather the eggs," Arthur ordered. "Yes, sir," and off they went. At the stables, Arthur roused an old man he found asleep in the hay. "The cattle need tending," Arthur said. "Aye, they do," the man answered. "Can you see to it?" "Aye, my lord, but old bones don't move so well." "I'll send you some young ones." That might be easier than he thought. Within a few hours, Arthur had managed to restart the castle's normal routine. Short-handed as he was, Arthur had brought the newcomers inside the walls. They were grateful for the protection of the stone walls and the promise of regular meals. They didn't object or find anything odd in taking orders from a 14-year-old boy. But he had had much to offer them, and he was Sir Ector's son, and what he asked of them was work they knew well. "Arthur, you don't tell people what to do any more than you tell an animal. Just show them what needs doing and let them do it," his father had told him. Arthur had, and they had. By evening, the castle and its new occupants seemed to have merged together. The one task he couldn't fill was that of soldiers who manned the wall. His people, as he was beginning to think of them, were defenseless. Keep them safe. That was his charge, but how? He was still pondering the question when the campfires began to appear on the horizon. Such fires, Arthur knew, meant soldiers, a day's march at most. Arthur knew what he would do. Striding into the courtyard, Arthur picked up a hammer and began to beat the klaxon bell. He didn't stop until everyone was assembled. "We have visitors coming," Arthur said, pointing to the fires. "We must be ready." Morning found the castle buzzing with activities. Water casks were being filled, animals tended, and the outer wall cleared. The people were frightened, but they had placed their faith in Arthur. Once the work of the castle was complete, Arthur ordered a wagon hitched and had it loaded with items from the castle. Fine goods, rugs, tapestries, silver plate, and fine foods. Loaded, he ordered it moved to just outside the gate. Next, he ordered a cattle tethered near the wagon. After all this was done, he dressed in his best, took a pitchfork from the stable, and went to stand before the wagon. "Keep them safe," his father had said. "Keep them safe." The castle was shut behind him. The soldiers were close. Arthur could see an advanced party, 3 soldiers in armor, coming up the castle road. Arthur stood his ground. "Halt," Arthur ordered as they neared. To his amazement, they did. "What now, boy?" one of the men asked, amused. "There's pasture and water down the road on the far side of the village. This is my father's land, and I give you leave to use it. There is no treasure in the castle. What wealth we have is here in the wagon. Take it and the beasts, and leave us in peace." "What's the pitchfork for, boy?" another soldier asked. "It's in case you don't. These are my people. My father said keep them safe, and I will." "Well spoken," said the third, removing his helmet, to reveal a very tired-looking Sir Ector. "Well spoken indeed." That was Arthur at War. I hope you enjoyed it.